Quite simply, Ricky Carmichael is the most decorated rider two-wheel racing has ever seen. The Florida Flash has 115 career overall wins to his credit, 40 of those in 250 Supercross competition. He has built his 11 championship seasons on working harder, being more determined, and willing his 5'6" frame to be the best rider in the sport's history. Tonight, Ricky Carmichael is looking to add to that legacy. A 12th championship is on the line here in Seattle. The prize at the end of a quest that began in Canada last December, the THQ World Supercross GP Championship. Welcome you back to Seattle for the second hour of Supercross racing from beautiful Qwest Field in downtown Seattle, Washington. It's the THQ World Supercross GP and the THQ AMA Supercross Series. And despite some heavy rains earlier today, the skies have cleared and more than 50,000 fans have turned out. And we welcome you to our second hour of coverage. Todd Harris along with Cameron Steele and Jamie Little. Well, it should be a great night tonight as Ricky Carmichael goes for the THQ World Supercross GP crown. There you see his lead, 58 points over Mike LaRocco. Sebastien Tortelli sits in third. And then on the AMA side, it's Carmichael once again on top with Chad Reed, 28 points down. Kevin Windham sits in third, but Chad Reed has been on a tear as of late. And the track should be very challenging. For that, let's check in with Cameron Steele for this MX versus ATV Unleashed track map.
The eyes of a Supercross rider. This is Jason Thomas, number 33 of the Subway Coca-Cola Honda team. On the right side, his helmet camera on the left side. The track he is riding. This is the step on, step off 3 times. As you can see, that last step off, very difficult. Jason elected to drop down and do the double. Watch the ruts all over the track. It's very tricky. One of the big triples there, Jason just got over. He'll make a right turn into this rhythm section. It has a couple different options there at the beginning. Step over that and then make a right turn into some whoops. These are the smaller whoops, not quite as rutted out. That sends you into a triple jump, which has about 15 to 18 different lines you can take. They're all a good 6 to 8 inches deep, very scary. Then into the bigger whoops, but you can see how big the ruts are developing there. And Jason Thomas will come back around, make a left-hand turn, and off the finish line jump. And that is your MX versus ATV Unleashed track map.
All right, thank you very much, Cameron. And we also want to take a look at our MX versus ATV Unleashed track facts. Now, a lot of work has been put to make this thing come off, and we've got a composition of sandy topsoil. Sand and rose base has helped to drain a lot of the water. The first gate drop at Qwest Field, track length 1,688 feet. Very technical track, and our last visit to Seattle was back in 1999 when it was the Kingdome. We are set to go racing the 250 class. A few changes in the formats tonight. It'll be 3 heats with 12 transferring, 2 semis, 6 transfer, and 1 LCQ still with 2 transferring. So 3 heats tonight in the 250 class as we take a look at our starting grid here in heat number 1. Chad Reed, James Stewart in this one, also with Fonseca and Tortelli. Cameron, I'll tell you what, Mother Nature, the mud, the sand, the road base, whatever you want to call it, the great equalizer like we saw in the 125 class. As the 32nd board goes sideways, 250 racing returns to Seattle.
And it looks like Ernesto Fonseca with a huge jump at James Stewart to the inside, saying, hello, how do you do? See you later. At the same time,
squaring it off like a ruler. James Stewart goes into that corner and pops right back out, so he gets the whole shot, and it's Stewart out in front. Ernesto Fonseca currently runs in second with Chad Reed trying to inch his way in there. Ernesto says, not on this turn.
Well, Ernesto looks like he was holding Chad. Chad tried to tough a couple ways around him, then he saw Chad have a small problem in that section. That is definitely going to be something to watch all night. Ruts developing, track getting rough. I mean, there's going to be a hard way to find through each area. Look how deep the ruts are. You see Ernesto driving through them. Chad Reed still skimming. Chad was the fastest rider in practice. James was second fastest.
The green flag is out, and we are off and going here in the 250 class. Ernesto has a slight bobble there. Cameron gets stuck in a rut, unable to get the bike out, squares it off, and Chad Reed just takes it and says, I'll slide into second, young man. So it's Stewart out in front, Reed in second, and Ernesto Fonseca in third. And I'll tell you what, it looks like Tim Ferry back on the pace, number 15 on board the Yamaha, sitting in fourth.
And he's in qualifying position. As we told you, there are 3 heat races. Because of the weather here in Seattle, the day program, day qualifiers were canceled. They basically took every rider that had points into the night race, and that's how come we have so many riders in the field here tonight.
You are looking at number 22. He is the defending 250 champion, Chad Reed, as he goes through the whoops. Give you a great idea right there, the view. And Ernesto Fonseca off the track. And again, he gets caught up in the whoops, still having his problems. Tim Ferry able to get by, and Ernesto Fonseca has lost 2 positions. Gets it going once again as Chad Reed is now trying to do the impossible, or near impossible sometimes, and that has tracked down James Stewart. Here's a guy who Cameron did not have the fastest practice times, but he certainly looks fast. Chad Reed looks fast no matter what you put him on.
Oh, Chad Reed has been unbelievable. I mean, the last race, he moved up, took the win, and look at Fonseca just basically losing traction. He lets up on the throttle and try to straighten his line and just starts taking it to the right. That's one thing about ruts. If you start to twist a little bit in them, you're going to crawl up the side of them and start going that direction.
Chad Reed looking silky smooth as usual. He has problems. Reed goes into the back of another rider. Oh my, they were coming up on lap riders so quick because these guys have been fully committed to the triples, being able to just go through the pack. James Stewart is all but gone, and Chad having his problems right there. Cameron, for a guy who was in the hunt for the title, hoping that Ricky would have problems, he could get back on it. That is exactly not what Chad Reed is. We look at it one more time. Just seems like for a second there he forgot where the guy was in front of him. Came up on him so quick.
Well, the rider basically, instead of couldn't even keep a straight line. That's how bad the track is. He wasn't able to do the double, and not only that, he crossed over into Chad's line where he thought he had a clear way to go.
So Chad Reed impeded by a back marker. Travis Smith, unfortunately, be credited with that one. As we step aside, your running order looks like this: Stewart, Ferry, Tortelli, and Fonseca. Welcome back to 250 Heat number 1, a special edition of Supercross Racing tonight as James Stewart has checked out and gone away. And as it so happens many times, we go to commercial, something has happened. We're proud to report that nothing major took place while you're away, so it is still James Stewart on top, followed by Tim Ferry and Sebastien Tortelli, the top 3. Chad Reed trying to work his way up to the field. He has already moved up to 5th place. That's because, Cameron, they had such a big lead when he had that incident with Smith.
Watching James Stewart just changing lines like it's not filled with gigantic ruts, hitting all the jumps. Not a problem for James, and Tim Ferry, see him picking his lines, going out to the outside on that triple. The rut's not as deep over there.
On a track like this, Cameron, do you just throw it all to experience? Because look at Fonseca coming into view right there on the left side, and he gets past Ferry, with Tortelli also getting a good drive. These guys have a lot of experience in this kind of condition.
Yeah, and that's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place. Now Ferry sliding back and forth, passed by 2 riders at the same time. Ernesto Fonseca has just a ton of get up and go in this heat race. He's been charging the whole time. Definitely a good way for him to be racing right now.
And as we pointed out, the top 4 move on to the main event. We've got three heats for you tonight. Sebastien Tortelli currently sitting in 3rd place, number 103 on board the Suzuki, right behind number 24. That's Ernesto Fonseca.
And when I say it's a good way for him to be racing, keeping it going forward, momentum. A lot of riders you'll see, they'll start to slip up, they'll have a problem, they'll get a little cross-rutted, they'll slow up, and it really takes a lot out of them. When you're really able to charge and keep it going forward, it's such a better way to race with this ruddy, muddy, loose condition.
Folks, Cameron Steele thinks like a champion. The exact words, similar to what Rick Johnson told me earlier in the pit, is on these kind of conditions, you've got to keep momentum going forward. You've got to charge forward. Don't worry about the lines. Keep the bike moving forward, and James Stewart has done just that as we are on the white flag lap. It is Stewart coming around. He doesn't have time for ruts, Cameron. He's going so fast. His last lap time of 48.8. The highest lap for him has been a 49. But it is James Stewart making one more left-hand turn. Your winner, 250 heat number 1, James Bubba Stewart. Now this is the battle. Remember, we're taking the top 4, and we've got some great teammates going right now.
Chad getting caught in a rut right there. Did you see that? He had to slow up and pull up while Timmy
Ferry looks
charging. Looking back, don't look back. Red Dog, you got to look forward. The race is in front of you, but he's watching out for his ever-cunning teammate, Chad Reed, who looks like he's going to a semi unless Timmy slips up here.
Tim Ferry just inches across the line, so that is the case. Tim Ferry, basically pushing Chad Reed into a semi-race as we have 3 heat races. And it looks like Chad Reed, they'll check him, make sure he's okay as James Stewart gets the win. But Tim Ferry pushes Chad Reed to his first semi-race this year. As we take a look at the official results, 250 heat number 1, it is James Stewart with a victory, followed by Ernesto Fonseca, Sebastien Tortelli, and Tim Ferry, the top 4. Moving on to the main as we set it down to the lovely Jamie Little.
Well, Todd, by watching that performance of James, you'd never know these guys only had 10 minutes on the track today. James, how do you come out here right out of the box? You jumped everything, and you're blitzing like you've been riding the track for 2 days.
You know, Jamie, I feel good. You know, I'm really comfortable tonight, and
You always say you're comfortable. What is it?
All right, then I'm really comfortable then. No, we just got a good setup. I think, riding a little bit on the track helps me a lot because, I'm not afraid to jump. So I think 20 laps like that, the track's super dangerous tonight. So it'll be a good race and have fun out there.
All right, guys, you set a blistering pace. We'll see what these guys can do in heat number 2.
All right, thank you very much, Jamie. We want to welcome into the booth the Big Bird, the pride of Snohomish, Washington, Larry Ward. We'll get to him in just a moment. Cameron Steele, first of all, James Stewart, fast. Chad Reed, not such a good heat.
No one's ever questioned the speed of James Stewart, and add the ruts in, you think, well, maybe he'd slow up a little bit. No, he's just going to keep on holding it wide open. He looked great, but Chad Reed committed to a double jump. A lapper gets in his way, and Chad's not able to pull up in time. You can see that he pulled up a bit because he wasn't going to downside the landing, but nonetheless, he ends up on the ground. He's going to the semifinal, which is even sketchier tonight because of the format, because we're going to go with 3 heat races. We're only going to take 3 riders out of each semifinal, so you don't want to end up in the LCQ, especially if you're Chad Reed.
All right, not to leave him hanging, but we're so glad to have Larry Ward here, a 2-time Seattle Supercross champion. We're great to have Supercross back in Seattle. Larry, good to see you again. What are you doing and what are your plans?
Well, first of all, I'm so glad Supercross is back in Seattle. I was here that night when I won here in '99, and that was the second greatest night of my life, other than 1990 when I won my rookie year. But that was a great night, and I'm so happy Supercross is back in Seattle. It's a beautiful city. It's a great fan base up here, and it's unfortunate they had a little bad weather, but it's turned out to be a great night.
Well, it should be a fantastic night. Ricky Carmichael looking to clinch a THQ World Supercross GP title, and before the gate dropped, we had a chance to talk to RC.
To win the world title this weekend would be great. It's the only title I don't have, and I'm looking forward to getting out there and doing the best that I can do to get a title. And to win it would be great. That's why I participated in the World Supercross rounds, and I think that it was the right thing for me to do. So I've put myself in a great position to wrap it up this weekend. Racing those 2 races has helped me out, and I've done great. I've done better than I thought I've done, and I only have 3 more events, and I need to do the smart thing and the right thing to protect everything that I've done from the start of it in December 5th in Toronto. I stepped the bar up this year and kind of put the pressure on them to go next year. So it should be interesting to see the participants.
So there is a man with a lot on his mind. Not only is he thinking about the AMA Championship, but he would like to lock up the World Supercross GP title. And Cameron, he can do that by getting into the main event. So RC going for a title here. And we saw what happened to Chad Reed, so anything is possible. James Stewart told Jamie Little, very dangerous track out there as we take a look at our starting grid. Ricky Carmichael, David Vuillemin, Heath, Voss, Travis Preston, who's been running quite well as of late, Jason Thomas and Kyle Lewis. Glad to have Larry Ward in here with us, Cameron, and should be a very interesting race. Larry, your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are, everybody's looking good. The crowd is beautiful. The weather broke this afternoon, and we're going to have a great rest of the evening.
You love Seattle, don't you?
I love Seattle. This is my first Supercross I've been to in a couple of years, and I'm glad it's here in Seattle.
We're glad to have you in the booth as we take a look at Heath, Voss. Cameron, what do you think?
Well, I wanted to ask, what about the way the track breaks down? Traditionally, Seattle has big, gnarly ruts. We're looking on board with Jason Thomas. Larry, how crazy is it when you're looking for your line off the triple and it's like a foot deep?
It's real crazy, and when you're really thinking about it, you make big mistakes. And James Stewart looked like the first couple laps he was a little tight, and then he loosened up and just started setting some blistering times.
You think your teammate on Moto Triple X, Kyle Lewis, might come with the whole shot here? He's known for him.
I hope so, but it looks like Carmichael's got the lead already.
Carmichael to the inside line. He's got Vuillemin and Voss to the outside, and it's Ricky Carmichael who picks up the whole shot. So Carmichael does exactly what Larry Ward would tell him to do. Get out there, pick your line, and get away from the crowd.
Heath Voss on the number 13 bike. We saw him last week get a great hole shot in the main and not able to hold it up. He ended up in 7th place. He has a groin injury. He's not able to hold his motorcycle tight with his legs. His left leg, a big problem for him.
Well, I tell you what, you see those guys hit that triple, Larry, and that nose comes up, and they're looking for that break to bring the front down, not able to get it down quick enough. But it's Carmichael in front. Heath Voss having some problems in the whoop, and that gets David Vuillemin right next to him.
Yeah, it also gives Ricky a little breathing room, so now he can learn the track and worry more about his own race rather than those guys ramming him from behind.
And I saw David Vuillemin going for some lever adjustment, hitting up there. David Vuillemin right now, as he's been in the 250 class for a few years, he has been on the podium at least once every time in his career, each year on the 250 class. He has not been this year in the 250. Do you find that kind of strange for David?
I find that real strange, but on a track like here in Seattle with the ruts, and he's a real tall rider, he's a technical rider, you know, anything can happen, and usually does up here in Seattle, so I think Vuillemin will be good tonight.
On board the helmet cam, and this is a great shot, Cameron. Jason Thomas just outside of qualifying. Remember, we are taking the top 4. Thomas currently sitting in 5th, needing to move up as Ricky Carmichael continues to lead.
And you saw Travis Preston get by Heath Voss there. So right now, Heath Voss right in front of Jason Thomas. He separates him from the main event. And with the semifinals having less riders coming out of there, it is right there. Voss is pulling up.
I don't know if there's a problem there, but Cameron, he has not looked right there as he came around that corner. And Larry, in a situation like this, anything can go wrong with the bike.
Yeah, for sure, but Heath has a pretty big cushion for the qualifying position, so I'm sure he's just worrying about his own ride.
Ricky Carmichael continues to lead. Number 33 is Jason Thomas. He is running our helmet cam, and he currently is in a qualifying position. We are taking the top 4 to the main event. Remember, tonight we have got 3 heat races for you, an abbreviated program, and there are semis, so the semis get a little more dicey. But Jason Thomas, number 33 on the Subway Coca-Cola DGY-sponsored Honda CRF 450R, doing a nice job running the helmet cam.
And JT is from Florida, and he's not afraid of a little bit of sand and deep ruts. It's very similar to what we have out here, isn't it, Larry?
It's real similar. In his defense, though, he's not the tallest fellow out there on the track, so the deeper these ruts get, the tougher it could get for him.
Carmichael, Vuillemin, Preston, and Thomas, your top 4 right now from Seattle. It is a beautiful night tonight, as Larry Ward pointed out, but earlier today it absolutely poured. That's what keeps this place so green as Carmichael continues to run out front. Very similar to what we saw when James Stewart got out in front, just ran through the program. It looks like he is not pressing tonight. We will step aside, take a break. We come back, more of heat number 2. It's Carmichael, Vuillemin, Preston, and Thomas. Welcome back to Qwest Field, beautiful Seattle, Washington. This is 250 heat number 2. 2 heats in as far, but we've got 1 more to go. We'll have 3 heats tonight in the 250 class. You are looking at number 33, Jason Thomas, currently holding the 4th and final transfer position. Behind him is number 13, Heath Voss, trying to take what Thomas has.
Well, to tell you how crazy the track is getting, those 2 riders are basically on the qualifying bubble position, and they're not jumping the finish line double. It's breaking down fast here, isn't it, Larry?
It's breaking down fast, and also with the conditions they have tonight, their lapping riders really easy, too.
Heath Voss comes to a dead stop right now. The bike stalls, so as the white flag comes out for Ricky Carmichael, Heath Voss gets it rolling again. It just has not been his year, Cameron. I mean, he got the World Supercross GP title last year, and he has not been able to follow it this year.
How is Jason Thomas just switching lines with all the ruts to get around the lap ring? Still throws the triple.
From a move like that, I would have to say he doesn't know that Voss has had the problem so far, because otherwise he would be taking it a little easier.
Well, point by Larry Ward, a man who's won in Seattle several times. Seattle's been very, very good to him, winning the final race here at the Kingdome back in the day. We're glad to have him in the booth as we get a look at Ricky Carmichael as he comes around. 2 more turns for Carmichael, and the win is his. And gentlemen, I can't believe this, but our statistician David Stanfield just pointed out to me that Ricky Carmichael has not won a heat race since Daytona.
Yeah, Ricky's definitely, thinking about that, but in the back of his mind, he's thinking about this championship.
And he does it just like that. Carmichael picks up, breaks the streak. He gets the win, and by virtue of that, picks up the title for the THQ World Supercross GP. He is into the main event safely, but we are back on board with Jason Thomas. And Larry pointed it out. Here's a guy who's not very tall, but he's doing a great job with the helmet cam.
Look at the ruts.
He's doing a great job, and you can see just in this 8-lap heat race, the track is definitely deteriorating, and Dirtworks is going to have a hard time getting it back great for the main event.
Ricky Carmichael already on the podium, and I think his trainer, Alden Baker, is letting him know exactly what he just accomplished, but Ricky is looking at the big target. He's the winner tonight, 250, heat number 2. There are your 250 heat number 2 results at the Carmichael, Vuillemin, Preston, and Thomas. As we send it down to the podium, that's where Jamie Little has our screen.
Well, guys, Ricky Carmichael has the THQ World Supercross GP title on the line tonight. So far, he's doing what he needs to do, getting that heat race win. And Ricky, the track right now is really rutting up. What do you think is the most difficult part of the track?
The whole track is difficult, especially that there's a small set of hoops, and they're really rutted out. So that's the tough spot right there. So it's just going to take no mistakes, and I'll be fine.
Nearly 50,000 fans on hand here at Qwest Field, and you can be part of the action too. Text message your favorite 250 Supercross rider, 44600. That's 44600. Text message any phone, any service, your favorite rider. Well, it's an historic night here tonight with 250 heat number 3, and the win went to Kevin Windham, followed by Mike LaRocco, Tyler Evans, and Damon Huffman. Those 4 moving on to the main. Chad Reed had to go to a semi. Here it was in semi 1, no problem, as he picked up the win. As we take a look at our qualifying highlights, first in the GameStop Semi 1, it's Reed, Bucklew, and Johnson. Then in the Thor Semi 2 results, it was Voss, Lewis, and Johnson. And then in the Samsung Wireless LCQ results, Tommy Hoffmaster and Kevin Johnson moving on to the main event. Well, earlier in the day, we sent our Jamie Little into the pits for this Suzuki strategy piece on how these guys prepare for a mud race.
Well, guys, bike preparation for a mud race can be very technical. There's so many different things you could do to keep mud off your bike and off the rider. For instance, there's hand guards to keep the rider's hands nice and pretty and their gloves nice and clean. And you have a mud seat. Little extra grip here when things get a little slippery out there. And if you look at the bike, there's foam placed in different areas, and you often see it on a rider's helmet as well. The key here is to keep the rider and the bike as light as possible. And remember this, in San Diego, we introduced you to a woman's pantyhose. They're used on the shrouds for the bike to keep the mud out of the radiator. Many different things you can do here. Those are some of the tricks of the trade of Tony Berluti and Sebastien Tortelli's number 103, and that's your Suzuki strategy.
2005 has been a competitive season that has seen 4 different winners among the talented field. As the series returns to one of its most historic venues, these riders are looking to make Supercross history. The 250 main event is next. Welcome back to the Emerald City, Seattle, Washington, Qwest Field for ESPN2's coverage of the THQ World Supercross GP and the THQ AMA Supercross Series. Todd Harris along with Cameron Steele and Jamie Little reporting from a relatively dry track on this beautiful night here in Seattle. The attendance has been fantastic as Supercross has returned after a 6-year layoff. 49,532. That's 49,532. Thank you very much. Well, here's our trivia question. Who has won the most 250 Supercross races in Seattle, Washington? Think you know? Here's Jamie Little with the answer.
And the answer to the trivia question is Rick Johnson. He won here in Seattle 7 times. He's a 7-time AMA champion. Rick, what was so special about Seattle? I know you won here in a truck as well.
Yeah, well, it started in '84. Jeff Ward and I got our first Supercross wins here. And it used to be a 2-night event, so it was, I guess I was known more as a rider that just was tenacious and kept going. And this isn't a finesse track. As you can see how it's rutting up. It's a lot like the old school Seattle, where the dirt was soft, got a lot of rut. So the guy who was strong and didn't mind being uncomfortable for the night ended up winning. So I had some great nights here in Supercross, and also one time in a truck. So it's good to see some good old school Supercross going on tonight.
We love to see Rick Johnson in all their races, and he just told me, he goes, hey, Larry Ward, you know, he's still racing motocross. Here I am on my 4th career opportunity now, and they used to race together here in Seattle. Quite interesting, guys.
All right, thank you very much, Jamie, and thank you, RJ, as we take a look at the Suzuki starting grid for the 250 main event. James Stewart, Kevin Windham, Ricky Carmichael, Ernesto Fonseca. You don't see Chad Reed. Well, Cameron, why is that?
Well, he had to go to the semifinals and 3 winners and 3 heats. They got gate picks first, so Chad does not get a gate pick of choice, so to speak. And he is not going to be starting next to Ricky and James, who are farther to the inside. Chad is outside of the box, halfway to the outside of that section of the starting area.
There's Jason Thomas's view right next to the doghouse. He will be running the onboard helmet cam tonight. The Subway Honda rider number 33. We'll keep our eye on what he gets. There you see Ricky Carmichael. Cameron, we had a chance to visit with him earlier. What does he need to do tonight to get on top of the podium?
Well, when we were talking to him, he said he was definitely frustrated with the injury he has had, and he really wants to race for the front, even though he's racing for the championship.
32nd board is sideways, and we are racing back in Seattle. It's the 250 main event.
Looks like Kevin Windham. Oh!
Stewart gets the whole shot, and Chad Reed's bike goes shooting off into the berm. He was trying to hold his line, and Stewart would have none of it. Just railed him high, so Chad Reed is in dead last.
And this is definitely a championship situation for the THQ AMA Supercross Championship. If Chad were to finish in 20th, I could be mistaken, but if Ricky finished second, he would win the championship, but not sure. Could be a tie. It's very close there.
We'll do that math later on, but a very unfortunate turn of events for Chad Reed, number 22, the defending champion, sits in dead last, and James Stewart is way out in front. Ricky Carmichael sits in second, and David Vuillemin in third. As we take a look one more time at the Butterfinger hole shot replay, this is an amazing turn of events. Here it is from the onboard.
Well, you see Reed, he's on the outside. Windham's got the inside line. James Stewart just knocks Chad Reed, gives him a good one. I mean, check this out. Looks like Windham gets into Bubba, Bubba gets into Chad, and Chad gets off the track.
Here it is one more time. Kevin Windham kind of stacks it up, and he looks like he catches the back of 259. James Stewart, he really had nowhere to go. I don't think it was intentional, but his bike, the momentum carried him right into Chad Reed, and Chad kind of gave a look back like, what's that about? No question in my mind that Chad Reed will not stay in last place. He has already picked off 5 riders. So it is James Stewart, that man, number 259, on board the Kawasaki, riding for Fox and Oakley, and right now riding for the pride of Florida, because he is being trailed by another Floridian in Ricky Carmichael, who sits in second place.
And as we were saying, Ricky really wants to race forward and try to do battle with Bubba or whoever else is in front. And right now he's in a great position to get up there, get in the mix. And Kevin Windham also on the gas right now. He is in this race a little bit farther back than Ricky, but he is still in position with all these ruts and all the strange things that could happen with the way the track is breaking down.
Ricky Carmichael currently sits in second place. Cameron, we're doing quick math up here. If Carmichael would get second and Reed would finish way in the back of the pack, 16, 17, 18, it is possible for Carmichael to clinch the title, but Chad Reed is not going to let that happen. He has now moved up all the way to about 13th place.
And getting past his teammate, Timmy Ferry.
There is Ricky Carmichael. He is currently the points leader. As we take a look at the Butterfinger Chris Hole Shot Award one more time, it's going to go to James Stewart, but there's the action on the inside. It really was kind of a domino effect, Cameron, as James Stewart picks up the Butterfinger Chris Hole Shot Award. Almost looked like Kevin Windham got stacked up, and that's what set the chain reaction as Bubba picks up the Butterfinger Chris Hole Shot Award. There's Ricky Carmichael, number 4, currently sits in first place in the current overall standings, looking to clinch the THQ World Supercross GP title, but your leader right now is James Stewart, and he has got about 100 yards on Ricky Carmichael. Folks, I hate to do it. We got to step aside, pay some bills. When we come back, much more of the 250 main event from Qwest Field in Seattle as Chad Reed continues to move up to the field. How far can he move up? It's Stewart, Carmichael, Windham, and Vuillemin. Folks, welcome back to Qwest Field in Seattle, Washington. What started out as a very exciting 250 main event has continued to go that way as Chad Reed has moved into 8th position. While we're away, no major changes. James Stewart continues to lead. Ricky Carmichael continues to sit in second, and Kevin Windham sits in third. But Chad Reed was in dead last after an early incident in the first turn. getting tangled up with James Stewart, knocked clearly, and I mean clearly, off the track, had to remount the bike, started, and he has now moved up to the field, and you got to be kidding me, Cameron.
And taking a look, there's James Stewart riding flawlessly. Want to give a shout out to Raymond Bailey, suffering from leukemia. He's from up here in the Washington area, Spokane to be exact. Big fan of James Stewart. We wish you well. Looking back for Ricky Carmichael, he's got a bit of a gap back to second place there.
Yeah, no question. He's got some company coming up in Kevin Windham, a guy who's been riding so well the last few weeks. Windham, one of the guys that was kind of welcoming the rain. Ricky Carmichael just wants to be on top. He said, I just want to win. And for a guy who's used to doing that, this has got to be very frustrating because now James Stewart, perfectly healthy on board that Kawasaki. Cameron, you got to be kidding me. He has uncorked a 47 lap time. That is unbelievable.
Well, and to let you know also, Ricky Carmichael and Kevin Windham have dropped down into the 47s, and Windham's time faster than Ricky Carmichael, their best time. So we'll see how this shakes out. Kevin Windham. Oh, look at this. Ricky Carmichael with some problems in the whoops. What did Ricky say to us earlier? He says, I haven't even had one of those sketchy moments. Will he have one here tonight? You see him getting a little bit loose. I think he just wants to push it farther forward. And right now, look at him looking back. Sees Kevin coming into the inside.
You don't think Kevin remembers a little incident we had earlier in the season where Ricky parked him right before the start-finish line to get a position?
I think he definitely remembers. I'm sure Ricky remembers as well. He'll be keeping an eye on Kevin Windham.
Kevin Windham, not a dirty rider. Don't want to imply that, but there you see they have to deal with the back marker, and as Carmichael gets the better of that, moves ahead as we drop back. There is Chad Reed, maybe one of the most amazing riders here. He is the smoothest rider in any conditions. He currently sits in 7th place, and Chad Reed has just been on fire as he has moved up. He was dead last to 8th place in 3 laps. So Chad Reed continues to motor. Cameron, if he gets on the podium, I got to give him a huge shout out because that would be an amazing, from dead last to podium in a 250 main. You got to be kidding me.
Well, he's definitely got some big name characters he's got to get by. And look at this.
That's Ricky Carmichael now. He's got 2 lap riders in between him and Kevin Windham.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit of breathing room there.
Well, I tell you what, there are so many yellow flags out on the track right now. Riders just trying to deal with the ruts, coming together, losing their line. But James Stewart is having none of that. Ricky Carmichael trying to reel him in. But I tell you what, the lead for James Stewart has now gone up to almost 9 seconds. So it is Stewart and Carmichael 1 and 2. Windham about 50 yards behind Carmichael, and Chad Reed continues to work his way up. One more quick break. We're back for the conclusion of the 250 main.
The Honda CBR 600RR. Last year, it took the checkered flag in every race to become the 2004 AMA Formula Extreme champion. This year, in its first race, it not only took the checkered flag, it took 2nd and 3rd, sweeping the Daytona 200. The new, lighter, faster CBR 600RR. We want every flag. Again, with Freedom of Choice financing, you can get low payments, low interest rates, and bonus bucks. See dealer for details.
The battle of the Gridiron Stars, and it's time to see how athletic these athletes really are. Last week, Peyton and Cruz had a slim 3-2 lead, but will Marvin Harrison's fancy footwork keep the lead from slipping away? Takeo spikes the fish out of water when it comes to war canoe. Who knew canoeing is a contact sport? And things really get interesting when the finish line is a wall. It's the Battle of the Gridiron Stars, presented by Goodyear. The battle is on, Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern.
There's no thought. You're just completely blended with the wave. It's like my most purest moments on Earth.
If I'm there, entered in the event, I'm there to win. I don't care if there's no money up. I want to win.
Today I went surfing, and that was my job. The waves were perfect, and I had a good time, and I was out there laughing, and I feel like I'm slacking off if I'm missing good waves.
sort of like a ritual, I guess. Unless they're watching board stories or something, they're here surfing, for sure.
I don't know how we did this business. What it is I wanted to demonstrate, and we had the sale.
Welcome back to Qwest Field in Seattle, Washington. It's the 250 main event. This is Chad Reed on a tear. His next marker will be Mike LaRocco.
Oh, and he goes to the inside, keeps it clean. You see Mike LaRocco taking a little longer on the high side once he sees that Chad is there. Clean racing, fast racing by Chad Reed, who now moves up into 4th place.
So it's Reed getting by LaRocco. Now the big problem is going to be catching up to the top 3, that being James Stewart, Ricky Carmichael, and Kevin Windham. They are quite a ways away, and Bubba is about 29 seconds ahead of where Chad is right now. Look at this.
Look, now he's getting past the lapper, but the next rider is his teammate, David Vuillemin, the number 12 machine, who is sitting in 4th place. So, I mean, Chad Reed coming all the way from the back, kicked off the track by James Stewart and Kevin Windham together, and there he goes.
Wow.
Right
so
on by.
Reed continues to move up. What a thing it would be if he gets up on the podium. Here it is one more time. There's Vuillemin, number 12 on the outside. Reed just takes the inside line, just flat out Cameron faster. Here's James Stewart, number 259. He is your leader, and he is way out in front. His best lap of 47.08. Last lap of 51. Now, I don't know if that's fatigue or the track, Cameron breaking down, but
well, one major
charge the whole way.
One major factor you see right there, splitting between the lappers.
As we check in quickly with Jamie Little.
Guys, this track is eating up some of these riders. Ernesto Fonseca pulled out. He's rolling around the track right now. Kyle Lewis is out. Sebastien Tortelli is on the track trying to restart his bike with no luck. Isaiah Johnson is out. Tommy Hoffmaster's rolling around. Tough night for some riders, guys.
And no question about it. Despite the fact that it's not pouring down rain like we had at Anaheim 1, the track has just taken a beating. And when you get that much water here, it's almost impossible to keep the track running up like this. And Stewart continues to take chances, Cameron. I mean, this kid knows no back down. He is just going full tilt. And James Stewart is just moving his lead way out in front. Carmichael now is trying to reel him in, but Cameron, he is down a good 12 seconds.
Yeah, we're going to get it as he goes by the timing and scoring. As he gets past the finish line here, we'll give you the update exactly how far back he is. And you're very close, Todd, 11.34 seconds.
And so Carmichael's in second. Windham now moving in. Now this is Kevin Windham. He is right behind Tyler Evans, who's a lap rider right now. And fortunate for Tyler, but he's had a great weekend despite the tough conditions. Kevin Windham sits in 3rd place, and his lap time has been very good. Heath Voss having his problems. Like Jamie said, this track is just eating a lot of guys up. There you see Kevin Windham. And look at this. Here comes Chad Reed. His last 3 laps have been his fastest. He has been consistently running in the 49s when our top 3 riders, Cameron, have been in the 50s.
51's actually their last lap, so they're slowing down a bit. Chad Reed is holding the pace, and he is a rider that has been hanging it out. We saw it last week in Pontiac. He was so fast and so aggressive. Things just worked out perfectly for him.
You know, you hate to say what if, but what if Chad does not go off the track in that first turn? I think it's him and Bubba and Ricky out in front, cranking out 47, 48, and everyone else is chasing him. So it is Chad Reed now who has moved into 4th place. And remember, moments ago, he got past Mike LaRocco. Now look at the gap between Reed and LaRocco. And LaRocco's no slouch.
And LaRocco, you know, I was been watching him around the track here today, and he just didn't look like he was really excited. I think he was kind of mentally prepared for a mud race. We've got a big rut race, and he was saying, you gotta be smart. A lot of riders have been taking chances, and that's what he said to what happened at Anaheim. He rode it smart, kept it consistent. He ended up getting a 2nd place. So I think maybe his game plan is where he's following right now. He's sticking with the game plan of playing it smart. The other guys are winging it completely, but they're holding it together.
Well, with just a few laps to go, it's interesting to look at the lap times. James has dropped down. His last lap time was a 52.4. Carmichael's was a 51.8. Windham's a 51. And then Chad Reed is a 49.3. So, Cameron, I think it's going to be a matter of attrition where Chad is just going to run out of laps. But can you imagine if this thing was a 23-lap race? I think Chad Reed might catch the top two.
Can't be changing the laps of the race, Todd.
I know, but I'm just saying for Chad, after an unfortunate parking on that first corner, he has been unbelievable.
And Chad Reed is on the same straightaway on the long straights with Windham and Carmichael.
There's number 33, Jason Thomas. He is running our helmet cam, but it is Chad Reed really who's putting on the best show tonight. He is consistently running in sub-50s. There is 259, James Stewart out in front. This is getting interesting because Kevin Windham is closing in. He is closing in quickly on Ricky Carmichael. And Chad Reed is now on the same straightaway as Carmichael and Windham. So 2 and 3 are just ahead of Chad Reed, who is in dead last, and Windham's got a run on Carmichael. Gets around him, makes the pass, and makes it stick.
Let's see if Ricky tries to dive in here. Oh, and he gets held up a little bit, getting right on the back tire of Windham. Kevin Windham running a great race.
It is the final lap. The white flag is out. If Chad Reed has any more magic in that Yamaha, he's got to unleash it now. Ricky Carmichael seems to be struggling, and Kevin Windham has found another gear. So Carmichael sits in third in a very precarious situation because Chad Reed is only about 40 yards down. Carmichael's got to nurse this one home. James Stewart's pace has come down. Kevin Windham's in second, and here comes the Aussie, Chad Reed, closing in.
Well, Kevin Windham has definitely put time on Bubba, but it's not going to be enough.
James Stewart picks up the victory in Qwest Field in Seattle. Carmichael comes in. Reed, but it is Windham who gets second. Carmichael will get third, and Chad Reed will have to settle for fourth. But for my money, the most impressive ride of the night goes to number 22, Chad Reed.
And Bubba scoring his second win in his young 250 career.
Wow. Well, James Stewart was the subject of an article in Sports Illustrated this past week, and he has certainly backed that up. Forget about the SI jinx. Bubba has come to play in Seattle. 259 is your winner. He came out of the hole shot and just let the folks at Qwest Field know that he certainly meant business. Your winner, James Bubba Stewart. When we come back, we'll talk to him.
They may be heading for the NFL, but what about the
driven motorcycles, scooters, and all-terrain vehicles? And welcome back to Seattle. If you're a 259 Bubba fan, you are very happy as you get set to leave Qwest Field here in Seattle, Washington, as we take a look at our Honda results. In the 250 main, it is James Stewart Jr. getting the victory, followed by Kevin Windham and Ricky Carmichael also on the podium. Chad Reed is in fourth place. A very disappointed young man, but a great ride. Let's send it down to Jamie Little, who's with Kevin Windham.
Kevin Windham keeping things so exciting in the main right there at the end. Talk me through that pass there on Ricky Carmichael. That's not something we see from Ricky. He doesn't usually let that happen.
Yeah, we were just talking about it. It's like, man, I don't know where you came from. I thought I had a good little cushion, and the last 3 laps I was able to really get on him and make the pass. It felt great, and you know, I felt good all night. I wanted to get in that first turn first, and I was really close, but both Chad and James were both there. And, man, we all came together. Chad went flying, and it was just a crazy first turn, and James broke away. But I felt really strong tonight, and that's what I need. And you know, my confidence is back from those crashes I had earlier in the season, and I'm ready to finish the season out racing.
Thank you, Jamie. It's now time for our Nissan turning point. Cameron, can there be anything else but the start?
The start's where it turned upside down for the 2-2 Chad Reed. It was all good for James Bubba Stewart, who would get the Butterfinger crisp pole shot, but Chad, a combination of Kevin Windham into James Stewart, into Chad Reed, and ejection straight off the back of the berm. That was your Nissan turning point. Now let's go back down to Jamie Little.
Well, another champion has been crowned. This time it's Ricky Carmichael is the World Supercross champion, the THQ World Supercross #1 plate. John Gallagher is here to do the honors.
Ricky, on behalf of the FIM, this is 14 wins you did this year, and we're very happy to award you the #1 plate. You're a world champion. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Ricky. What does this mean to you?
It means a lot, I tell you. It hasn't sunk in. I didn't expect it this weekend, and especially with the conditions, but I'd just like to thank Clear Channel and FIM for this great opportunity. A world champion, I've never had a world title, so really proud. I definitely have to thank Makita Suzuki and you know, the whole crew there for taking a chance last year when I was hurt, and it's amazing. I'm so happy, and I know it'll sink in tomorrow. I'm just ecstatic. Thank you.
Well, Ricky gets $100,000 as well. And to make it clear, we started our first 2 races in Canada. Ricky was there. He won both. How do you think that prepared you for this season, Ricky?
It prepared me tremendously. You know, I think it's really important, and I think I put the pressure on a lot of the other riders to do it next year also. So look forward to everybody riding it.
All right, Ricky Carmichael, the THQ World Supercross Champion.
Way to go, Ricky.
And it all wraps up the first weekend in May, Las Vegas, Nevada, the official destination of Supercross. Get your tickets now. It'll be a great show. As we take a look at our point standings, next week in Houston, Ricky Carmichael could wrap things up. He's already got a THQ World Supercross GP title. Can he get the AMA title 2 weeks from now in Houston as we send it back down to Jamie Little?
James Stewart makes it official. He gets the Butterfinger Crisp Whole Shot Award for $1,500 and his second ever win in just 5 starts. James, you were flawless tonight. Take us through it.
You know, it was a good night. You know, getting a good start, you know, helps me out. And, you know, it's just good. You know, it was really, really easy tonight. You know, the track was the main thing with all the lappers. I think we lapped up to 6, and, you know, I collided with some guy in the air. I jumped over to Ernesto during the race, and, you know, it was a weird night, but, man, I got it again, and, man, it feels good.
You look so confident compared to the old James that we used to see. You were a little erratic. How are you so confident out here in new circumstances and new riders?
You know, definitely. You know, I feel good, Jamie. You know, I just got a great bike, you know, great team this year, and you know, it's helping me out. I don't know if these guys realize this, but it's helping me out for outdoors, you know. And you know, like I say, you know, I got a great start. I got great bikes: Kawasaki, Fox, Oakley, Bridgestone, Red Bull, and I just want to thank my mom and dad for helping me out.
19-year-old phenom James Bubba Stewart gets his second win, guys.
After a 6-year hiatus, Supercross is back in Seattle. Chad Reed, though, not liking that whole shot.
Definitely not. Getting punted off the track in the first corner is no one's favorite thing to do, but what a performance. 20th to 4th, and speaking of performances, James Bubba Stewart coming through with his second win on his young 250 career.
Young James is certainly impressive. Our next show, May 1st, 2005, 5 p.m. Eastern from Reliant Park in Houston, Texas.
And if you want to listen to it live, don't forget you can go to supercross.cc.com, listen to the webcast live, and hey, if you want to know what Chad Reed said in the press conference, go check out Inside Dirt, the online magazine.
Our congratulations to Ricky Carmichael winning the THQ World Supercross GP. For Jamie Little and Cameron Steele, I'm Todd Harrison. It's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sport. Good night from Seattle.